with our very first music guest.
That's correct, Pearl. Our first music guest this morning has played, recorded and toured extensively with respected artists such as Nduduzo Makhathini, Herbie Tsoaeli, Salim Washington of the USA and Ayanda Sikade, to name but a few. I guess it's safe to say that, the young trumpeter has friends in high places. Well, musically, that is. His name is Ndabenhle Zulu and hails all the way from Chesterville, just outside Durban. He's currently working on his album, which you believe will be titled Umgidi, but we'll let him be the one to reveal all that information for us. Ndabo, a very good morning to you and welcome.
Thanks a lot.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now take us back to a young Ndabenhle Zulu. When did it all start and how?
So it all started at school. I had a project that I was part of. It was called the Field Band Foundation. Okay. And from there onwards, I joined the Durban Music School. And during that time, I was part of a music center called Siakula, which was also led by the late Dr. Brian Tusi. And so that's where I was introduced into the jazz world. That was through Siakula Music Center.
And what was it about music that really fascinated you?
Well, I don't actually think at that moment I had any fascination about music in general, but it just felt natural playing the instrument and being in that environment.
Okay, so when you look back at your musical career or your musical journey, as it were, who would you say that are the biggest inspirations in your career?
Oh wow, I guess in this career, it's like a building. A building is not built by one person, and you cannot say it is built extensively by this one person. You know, there's a person who designs it, but there's many people who are part of the building process, and so is my career, I would like to say. So I don't have someone who I can say played a bigger role than anyone else, but Dr. Brian Tusi introduced me to jazz. I played my first improvisation notes through Dr. Brian Tusi. So I would say for me, as I'm a jazz musician right now, it is because of him.
Okay. Yeah. So what makes you comfortable? I mean, what is it about music that makes you comfortable, and why is the trumpet the most comfortable space for you?
So I wouldn't say as well trumpet is my comfortable space, you know. I'd like to see myself as not a trumpet player or just a jazz musician, but I would like to see myself as a musician in general, you know, because I write, and I'm not going to just call myself a composer. And I'm a performer, so I'm not going to call myself just a performer. And so I don't find the trumpet just as my comfortable space, you know. I hear a whole lot of different things when I'm writing or when I'm just in my practicing space. Sometimes I want to sit on the piano and write a tune. Sometimes I can write a tune just from the trumpet. So the trumpet is not only my comfortable space, but music in general, depending on the sound that I'm hearing at that particular time and moment.
At what point are you the most productive or creative when during the writing process?
Oh, well, when I'm emotionally stable. Yeah, definitely. When I'm emotionally stable, you get a lot of different writers. You get writers who have writing techniques. Then you get writers who get their compositions from dreams. You know, so it's also, if I were to refer that, I would refer to the traditional healers we have in our tradition. You get traditional healers who operate with whistles. You get traditional healers and so and with writers as well, you get different types of writers. And I'm a writer who, when I'm emotionally stable, or when I'm really not stable, then there's a contrast in the way I write, I'd like to say.
Let's talk about your album Umgidi. Do you want to talk us through the title and what it means?
Yeah, so the album is just a cherry on top of the whole concept that I'm trying to establish. So the whole concept started with, I'm doing my master's at the Norwegian Music Academy in Oslo, and in this master's I had to have a project to be part of the master's. And so with this project I decided to just come back home and write music which is based on our heritage. And while doing that, for the ensemble that I'm trying to write for, there's not so many orchestrations of it. And so I realized that, so if an orchestra from the West, which plays music which is based on the heritage of the West, and the instrumentation, the reason why they're violins is because from the West in their heritage they have such. So why can't we do the same thing with our music and our heritage? So I decided to establish an ensemble of 10 musicians at first, and I'm planning to grow it bigger to almost the size of an orchestra, which is based on our musical heritage, and which is going to have influences of our Nguni heritage or our African heritage, and to have both conventional and unconventional instruments. And so this is the first album with 12 musicians, 12 great musicians from South Africa. I can just try and see if I can name all of them. Mbaba Mbusoko was on vocals, Linda Skakana on tenor saxophone, Osia Charles on trombones, Nduduzo Makhathini was the musical director, Bab Africa Mkhize was playing piano, Shane Cooper on bass, Ayanda Sikade on drums, Pelelo on drums, El Haji on percussion, Njabulo Shabalala on percussion, Uzo Mudecha is a special guest on the album, and Derek Hodge was the producer, and Keith Lewis was the engineer. So that's the crew for the whole album, and I'm so honored to have them in as the.
Where can you see you perform?
Oh, we just did a gig now in Marabi, which I would like to say was like a post-recording of the whole process that we've been going through the whole week of the recording process. The next time, I'm guessing, will be the album launch, which is going to be the South African album launch.
And your albums,
now it's in the mixing and mastering process. So as soon as it's done, I think it should be out before the end of the year.
Great stuff.
Hopefully.
Great stuff. Ndabo, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. Trumpeter Ndabo Zulu speaking to us about his musical journey, which has seen him play, record, and tour extensively with respected artists such as Nduduzo Makhathini, Herbie Tsoaeli, and Salim Washington. Stay tuned for more music from this talented artist. Thanks for making this.